I can't believe that kid that was harming themselves would end up sitting here. I've come so far.
For the first time, I'm seeing that there's an abundance of opportunity.
I wish I wouldn't have blamed myself so much for the way I felt and for the self-harm, because that's made it harder.
And what I actually needed to do was be brave enough to step out of myself.
Self-harm behaviours are warning signs that something is not right.
There's great optimism for people making a recovery that's good and that lasts.
I first sort of started to self-harm when I was about 16. It was a lack of confidence and sort of feeling like I didn't fit in anywhere, and I just had all this frustration about my identity, who I was. My mum was just worried about me constantly. I was not really talking to anyone about it, just assuming this was normal and everyone felt like that.
I experienced self-harm related to my anger especially. From a young age, I kind of learned that anger was a scary thing, or a thing that I shouldn't allow myself to feel.
I experienced trauma that I blacked out, that I couldn't access for years. I didn't really know what I was doing or have a plan or purpose even, but I was getting desperate.
Self-harm is a behaviour and it's a form of communication. Self-harm expresses emotional pain through a transformation into physical pain.
There are few statistics in relation to self-harm. 1 in 6 children and young people aged 16 years in England had a probable mental illness in 2021, would translate to something like 5 children in every classroom of 30. And in parallel, we see rising rates of self-harm to an emergency department.
You can self-harm in multiple ways. It doesn't always have to be through the standard ways that we know. Self-harming relationships, substance misuse, so there's a variety of different ways in which people do it.
I self-harmed on and off with cutting, then I developed an eating disorder.
I just became very secretive, and then it sort of turned into more neglecting myself. I'd been out drinking and I just didn't stop.
I noticed that a lot of my anger was directed at myself, whether it was like pinching myself or biting the inside of my cheek, things like that. A lot of my binging would happen when I was angry or upset and didn't feel like I was being listened to.
In very traditional gender-based ways, often males will tend to self-harm in quite violent ways. So getting into a fight sometimes, they put their fist through a glass.
We're learning a lot more about the experience of trauma. There's a kind of capital T trauma, but there's also small t trauma. All those small wounds that we all have from adverse life experiences, where perhaps we felt we haven't been seen or known. So it's not that something happened, but maybe something didn't happen.
People know that it's hard being a teenager. It just wasn't that. My parents wanted to help, but they didn't know how, so I hid it better. I didn't want to ask for help because I didn't want to seem like I was attention-seeking or belittled or made fun of. You want to be seen, but you don't want attention for the self-harm.
When people say that self-harm is attention-seeking, is to see it as attention-needing. Because self-harm is a form of communication, in order to move forward, you need to find an alternative form of communication, convert it into any other outward form of communication, rather than making it implode, making the pain implode back on you.
Well, something I'm doing to work towards living a better life is therapy. I still withhold a lot of myself from other people, but I definitely get to talk to myself through the art that I do, my anger as a wave that can come and go. Being angry doesn't make me an angry person.
I got a journal out and just started writing. I tend to share a lot of my poetry or anything I've written with my mum through running my Instagram account and working in the mental health industry. I think it's shown how much helping other people has helped myself.
Walking is a great tool for me. Walking allows me to process things in my mind.
I do lots of different things. I've had to plan my life in a way that I feel good and I don't relapse. And it's important to get your feelings out in whatever way. Creative projects are really good in order to learn how to verbalize things and understand what's going on.
Coming together with a group of people that were like myself, sharing words and experiences feels really comforting.
Expressing myself in a creative way, using my own words, I never thought would be possible for someone like me.
One thing I've learned over the last year or so is that it just takes a few moments of bravery to get the support that you need. You don't need to feel that you deserve it, you just need to know you need it.
It's not always going to be perfect, but just do your best.
No matter what you do, people are there to support you.
We definitely need to be open for people to tell us what they need. Society just needs to be a lot more person-centered and trauma-informed.
Being trauma aware, we have a responsibility with our young people to relate to them where they are. Having some compassion that somebody may have experienced some trauma is helpful.
It's really important to see this as a period of time in your life which you marked as being distressing, and to be able to see that as a phase that you have now moved from, and to be proud of having got through it. You can do it.
I thought that was it. Whatever I was feeling, wherever I was then, was going to be forever. And it wasn't. It hasn't been easy every step of the way, growing up or as an adult, but it is not the same. But things change, and they get better, and come and go.
They're probably not really interested now.
Fast enough to rest in its golden hour of everything falls away. Seeing where the roots are.